Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rooster AM. My name is Ryan Nelson, and today we have Will and Christina Tyner. And I just want to let you guys know, every week I have someone come in. I've had celebrities come in. I've had, country artists come in, people who have done great things and what I call extraordinary people that have done extraordinary things, athletes, singers, theologians. But today, what I have is something extra special. These aren't people who have done great things. These are people who are great people. When I heard this story, the first thing that popped in my mind was this is what it looks like to walk as Christ walked. And I hope you can feel that today. I hope you understand the impact that you can have on his kingdom, just as Will and Christina already have. And hopefully, when this is over, you can see how you can be a part of that as well. Welcome to the show, Will, Christina. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Thanks for having us.
No worries. Well, I'm going to jump right in. I normally am extremely prepared, but this was very much a impromptu thing. My friend Sean Cummings called me and he said, "Ryan, hear this story." When I heard it, I said, "Oh my goodness, well, let's get him on." And so here you are, and I'm excited for them to hear. So let's just start back from the very beginning, and I will give them just a preview of what you're about to hear. If you have had any tragedy or recent trauma in your life, and if you're not sure if you can make it through, my hope today is that you realize you can and that you will be able to thrive. So, would you guys like to share a little bit of your story?
Sure. You mind if I start?
Not at all.
So October 17th, 2018 was a day that changed our family's lives forever. And people around us also. We lost our 7-year-old son, Andrew, in an accident that was a horrific accident that his 10-year-old brother at the time, Grant, actually had to witness. One in which I was there within 2 minutes of. When I say change your life, it turns you completely upside down. You don't know ups, you don't know down, you don't know sideways. You just don't know anything.
It's like someone takes a sledgehammer and hits you in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and through that experience, with the accident, I was there within, like I say, 2 minutes. We had to, give him CPR for a very long time. We live in a rural community out in western Oklahoma. So there's not, access to ambulances and things like that. So, the experience, everyone talks about PTSD and what that actually is. Well, I didn't know what that was. And now I do. I've experienced it and our family's experienced it. It was something that you couldn't get out of or away from, or it was something that was constant in our frontal lobe of our brain. That's how what PTSD does. It affects our current thoughts, and so that experience was just playing through my head nonstop, constantly, and which Christina's also, I'm sure. The taste, the smells,
I don't want to pry too much, and it's okay if you don't want to share. But I'm sure when they hear tragedy, they're wondering what was the tragedy. And
I can share that
I'm
part.
assuming it was. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, like he said, our 10-year-old son, Grant, and then his little brother, Andrew, um, they went to the neighbor's house and they were playing Nerf guns. And there was an old outbuilding, like a chicken coop that had the windows knocked out. And Andrew decided to take the shortcut through there, and a wall from the building fell on him. So the doctor said it was sudden right away.
Mhm.
He wasn't suffering. And out
So
of
he was just a boy out having fun.
a boy just out
Yeah, they
having
were
fun,
playing.
trying to beat his brother. They were always in competition. He
Yeah.
and he and Grant were. Um, And when I got the phone call that Andrew was hurt, I loaded up the girls and we drove over there. Um, but they told me I couldn't go up on the scene, I guess. And even at that point, I didn't realize how bad it was. I thought my husband's there, they're taking care of it. The ambulance was on its way. Um, my parents called me and said I needed to have my father-in-law, who lives just down the road from us, drive me to town. And at that point, I knew something probably was pretty bad. But I was on the phone with Will, and he was saying, you need to pray, Christina. You need to pray harder than you've ever prayed in your life." And I, it, it still wasn't real, until we showed up at the hospital, and we were just in a state of shock. Um,
Honestly, I can't imagine.
yes, and one thing that I thank God for is that my husband protected me from even more trauma. He had, like he said, he tasted Andrew's blood, the smells, all of those things just were triggers for him for a really long time, um, until he was able to go and do EMDR, which is a type of therapy that helps with PTSD. And we hadn't heard of it until this.
It is quite something, and this is something I've experienced, and I've experienced this recent. Is not to the extent that you have. Um, so I'm not comparing this to what you want, but just so people understand, I walked through life always believing that counseling is kind of like not something I would need.
Certainly. You and I were on the same path
Yeah,
there.
like
For
I
sure.
can do this. I don't need help. I'll be fine. I have God, which all those things are true. I do have God, but God provides you lifeboats a lot, and you just got to jump on the lifeboat. And the um, the amount of heart change I've had, just even as a pastor, like that's kind of a weird thing. As a pastor going to a counselor, we're supposed to be the counselors, It is such a gift from God, and people don't need to be scared of it, and they don't need to think they're wrong for going. And I commend you that you went through that, because a lot of people run. I was in the military. A lot of the military guys I was with that suffered, they refused, and they're no longer with us.
Right. And that's what would have happened to me. I mean, because I couldn't live with it. It's just too gruesome. It was awful. So
Will has a sister who's 6 years older than him,
and she forced me to go to counseling. Luckily, us
say forced. She is from New Jersey, and she said, before I go back to New Jersey, you guys are both going to be set up with counseling. So within the week of Andrew's funeral, I started seeing a counselor, and it took a little bit longer because of the PTSD and because he's a male. That's the thing, is that when you do go to counseling, you want the right fit. Um, Otherwise, I think you go and you don't ever want to go back.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make sure that we were going to somebody that could really benefit us. And I got to see Jennifer Sullivan, who is a counselor here in Enid, and she's an amazing, amazing woman.
Heard nothing but good things about that woman.
And I don't currently see her, but I consider her one of my very dear friends. And she is actually on the Fish Fishermen's Club board. She is the counselor that makes it all happen. She sets up all of the clients with the right counselors. If it's a child, she knows what counselor is good for grief, for children who has PTSD. She's kind of spearheads that side of it.
And we say all this to make the introduction of the Fish Fishermen's Club. That's what we came to after this. We had
that come about?
Well, we had so many people that were generous and were donating money, a very substantial amount of money, and we wanted to do something good with that. And I knew how it changed my life. I was able to live again through counseling, and so we thought, if this money could help others, let's start this nonprofit and give people 6 free hours of counseling that have been through similar situations as us, and so that's what we're doing. We're providing people with,
And there were no strings attached to the money when they gave it to you. That's something you decided.
No, this was just a memorial account that
that we
that
started.
some I say friends. I mean, really at that point, acquaintances from the Chisholm community, which is where Grant and Andrew and our oldest daughter Emma were going to at the time. Andrew was a second grader at Chisholm, and two ladies from the Chisholm community just started a memorial fund, and it just grew and grew and grew. And we didn't know what we were going to do with it. But in the fall of 2019, we took a trip to Red River, and my best friend was there. And she's really good. She's a leader in a lot of different aspects of her life. And she just went through a series of questions with us to help us narrow down, what do we want to do with the money? What's important to you? And we both just looked at each other and said, counseling. In that, I mean, the order would be our faith, our family, and counseling. That's what got us through. And to be able to, because we still had 4 children at home that we had to get out of bed for and put one foot in front of the other. And counseling played a huge part.
That's such a blessing. And I from experience, knowing I've been through a lot of loss with a lot of people just as an occupation. And when people come into money, normally it becomes about them. It's like, what can I do for me? What can I do for me? You see a lot of infighting in families over little stuff, and it's all about what can you do for me? And it is so precious to see how you two said it's not about what you can do for me, what can we do for others? That's what Jesus did. That's the whole reason Jesus came. He did not come here for himself. He came here to give his life for others. And you guys gave a piece of your life, a piece of tragedy in your life, but you've given it to other people. Yeah. And that to me is the greatest example that you could ever have of being like Christ. You had the opportunity to be selfish and make it about you, but something turned your heart. I'm not beneficiary of anything they've done. I just want to say thank you for having that kind of heart. And I understand the benefit of this. And the counselor, her name was Julie Wilhite. A lot of people know her because she's kind of a world-renowned Christian counselor, right? I'm not real sure, but I believe she was like $300 an hour or something like that. And I didn't have one of these programs. I just had a very kind counselor who saw where I was and said, I love you and we're going to help you. And basically is doing it for nothing. I'm benefiting just off of her kindness. Most people don't have that. Most people don't have the profile of I'm a pastor where I have 4,000 people who watch me every week. You know, there are people out, little moms out there that have things happen and no one's there to help them.
Right. And we see that.
And you guys have helped them. And gosh, it's such a beautiful thing. How's this experience? I mean, it's a trauma, really.
Right.
You know, it's like Romans 8:28. It's overused. You know, people overuse it. You know, God can take all things, not just some things, but all things, good things and bad things. And they use that over getting a speeding ticket, right? This is what it is. Like, you are the picture of Romans 8:28. So what would you like for people to know? Like, outside of what can they do?
Well, at this point, the Fishermen's Club, we've kind of put ourselves on pause because we are low on funds, to be honest.
And it's a great problem
to have.
Because
so we wanted
started
to do is give that money away.
Right.
Yeah. But now we need to keep this thing going.
Right.
So it's the Fisherman. Why'd you guys call it the Fisherman Club?
The Fishermen's Club.
Go ahead. You take this over.
It's a hard one, but so um, bed night, nighttime stories. Putting the boys to bed. I always told stories, and my boys love to fish, and Andrew was an avid fisherman,
Mhm.
and I would tell him these stories about this elite of elite clubs that only the most elite of all elites could possibly be in. And it was a fishing club. And that was the stories that we told every night about the Fisherman's Club, the most elite place you could ever fish.
Wow.
And he just loved them. So we thought it would be
Actually,
right. Grant
our son Grant was the one who came up with
with
the
that with the
Fisherman's Club.
Club.
Wow.
And
So
he really,
it was all about midnight or nighttime stories.
yeah, it came from that. But then he also, when we were talking about, well, what do we want to do with this memorial money, one of the things that he wanted was to introduce people to fishing who have never fished before.
Yeah.
And so part of the Fisherman's Club is we do an annual fishing derby, and kids who may not have ever fished before, we have fishing poles, we have all the setup that they can come out and fish, and it's just a really fun family day. We have a bounce house and face painting and hot dogs, and then we do a silent auction. And so we've been able to keep our funds up through that to cover the people who are utilizing the Fisherman's Club. But it has grown. We're not just helping families in Enid. We've got families from Stillwater. We had a military couple that was overseas that was able to get help through the Fisherman's Club. So just by word of mouth and, social media, it's a great tool when used properly. We are helping a lot of families and people who've experienced traumatic loss.
What I'll do is I will reach out to all of my sponsors who sponsor this podcast and see if they would be willing to give. I'm going to encourage anybody watching. I mean, if it's a $5 to $5,000, it's going to something that is truly valuable. Let me just stress this: when you have PTSD, any type of trauma, it's not even just tragedy trauma, but just brain trauma. Things can happen. If it's not for someone to come alongside you and walk with you through it, many of us would not be here. It's worth every dime. I'm a testament to that. Not like yours, but when it gets pretty dark in life, you start thinking weird things.
Right.
Your brain can get twisted up, and then you need people to come along and rewire your thinking and let you see the truth, recognize lies you're believing, and find the truth in it. And it can be hard it's almost impossible to do on your own. And that's why this is a very special thing. So he liked to fish. Was there a certain type of fish that he went after? Like, was he a bass guy?
Oh, yeah.
Crop.
Bass guy.
Yeah.
And then Grant, he fishes bass tournaments. So
Our oldest
son is
Really?
high school
is on the high
fishing
school
tournaments.
fishing tournaments. So
Yes.
See, my nephew loves fishing. He's 9 and he loves it. He is he I'm not exaggerating, probably over 200, 300 lures.
Okay.
And he has I don't understand it because I don't fish like him, but he'll go to the pond with 4 fishing poles, all lured up for any kind of weather, season, I don't even know. He knows what he's doing. I don't. He watches YouTube video. Now, most kids are watching Fortnite. He watches these fishing videos where you sit there for 30 minutes and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? He's like, oh, there's a lot going on
A
right
lot
now.
going on.
Like, but
that's
it
what
is.
the boys do.
Yes, but you know what? Maybe sometime we'll get together and get him with your boy and go fishing. Certainly, my kid, he's 16. He needs to go out there and do something. All he does is play sports.
Yes.
He needs to get out there. But that is such a incredible story. Is there anything you'd like to share with anybody out there who has went through any type of the same kind of tragedy? Like, any advice to them?
Well, we're here, so I didn't think we would be. As a family, we're together. So many
Yes.
times divorce happens after this. You know, you can either, there's two ways you can take it. You can either take it, give it to the Lord, or not, and you're in trouble if you don't. So any kind of problem that you do have, just seek counseling, seek the Lord.
So what do you think that the greatest achievement was? Staying married?
Staying married, raising our
We're,
children,
we're,
and
we're still married.
we're still married.
Yeah, I know.
And
It's really hard.
It
It
is.
is when you go through something like that.
yes,
You're on.
especially whenever you think of a marriage as a team, and when one of your team members is fallen really ill, because PTSD, it's an illness. I mean, and the
Yeah.
other one has to take on a whole lot, even though they're suffering too. It was hard for a while, and we are so lucky in the fact that we have family. My parents are right here in Enid. His parents are right down the road. We have a wonderful community.
We have a strong church.
We have a strong church. I would say that if you don't have your group of people, you need to find your group of people.
You need it. Yeah, you need your tribe.
You do.
Mhm.
You've got to have your tribe. And the other thing I want to add to that is that, like, kind of going on what Will said, you've got two choices, and you can continue to stay in that deep dark hole, or you can gradually pull yourself out of it. And we have always said, as sucky as this is to lose a child, because it's awful,
It's terrible.
you have to find the good. What are the good things that have come from this tragedy? And Fisherman's Club is definitely one of the goods. And
It
and
takes
just-
a long time to get there to that thought process.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
for sure.
Yeah.
What good has come out of this? It was, it's been almost 7 years.
Mhm.
I promise you, after 2 years, I couldn't have ever thought of
No.
anything that was good that had come out of this at that point. So it takes a very long time, and
That's a real prayer too.
yes, it is.
It's a prayer that I've talked about this on the podcast before, is that when tragedy occurs in your life, constantly fall to your knees and pray for the Lord to show you the good.
Yeah.
Don't wait for it. Say, show me, show me, show me.
Sure.
And it's, some people get to witness things that are incredible. I don't know if you ever saw the podcast with Paula Davison that I had on here.
I started watching it
You did
today, but I haven't finished.
Okay, so Paula, just long story short, loses her husband, and it's a shock. She grieves, goes through this whole grieving process. She goes back to work, and she's a nurse, or she like draws blood, and she goes back to work, and this guy comes in and says, I'm here today because I'm not feeling really the best, and I just read about a guy that worked at this place who had a heart attack on the site, and that was her husband. She took his blood, and they checked him, and he was about to die, and they rushed him to the hospital and saved his life. He would have never came in if he would have never read the story about Paula's husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Paula, if she wasn't working that day, she would have never known this. She'd be going her whole life saying, what good came out of this?
Sure.
And she may not have ever witnessed it, but God let her see it firsthand. A guy come in, look, there was some guy named Jonah who died from a heart attack, and she's like, that was my husband. First day back to work after grieving, God showed her, this is one good thing out of a million that probably happened you just don't see.
Right.
When it comes to a child, that's really hard.
Mm.
Like someone who's in their 60s, 70s, they've lived their life, but the child is really, really hard. And the only comfort I've ever come to is knowing first that it's brought other people closer, your community, but it's also the fact that the little boy is in heaven.
Yeah.
Right.
He's doing what he loves every day.
Really,
He's fishing every day.
It's hard because we want them here, but the truth is, if we actually knew what he was experiencing now, we wouldn't want him here. And that's a hard thing to do. But counsel can help you find these answers where it's like brain fog when things like this happen. And even for a pastor, like I've walked into situations and you look at the family and you carry the brain fog. I mean, people don't realize. I think this is a good time to share that. Is that pastors really go through a lot. They go through a lot of trauma.
Yeah, they do.
And I think sometimes people just kind of browse over that. They think they're Sunday. They show up. They smile. They bring their their little choir smile when they walk in the door, and they act like they're perfect, but they're really not. They're broken. They go through all of these really hardships as well, and it's like a brain fog, and you don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
But you know there's a light at the end. You know there's Christ, and His light is at the end of that fog. And you just have to keep pushing through to see it. Keep pushing and pushing, and you guys have done that. And not only did you do it, you got there, and then you turned around and said, "Let's shine this light on other people." That's what you guys have done.
Well, it kind of puts it in perspective, man. I never really thought about it that way, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have put your light on other people, and that.
I tell my girls, because my girls ride with me to school. Grant drives, but when he was riding with me, every morning before they get out, I say, "Be a light. Be a light for Jesus. Shine your light."
Yeah.
And that's something I try to live by too.
Well, you guys have done it. When I heard the story, it was right off the bat. I was like, where are these people in our world? Because I know they're out there.
Yeah.
They're just
I
not
wasn't
very
one of
many
these
of
people
them.
before the accident.
Really?
No.
See, it
I mean,
changed you.
Absolutely. I went to church. I mean, I grew up going to church here in Enid. I did all the right things, but my faith has immensely increased after losing Andrew.
And that is a positive.
It's a huge positive.
It really is.
I have a strong partner, though, too, who's very strong in his faith and who leads us to the Lord every day.
Without going into detail, we don't need to. Will, the experience you went through, just to make it out on the other side, is incredible.
Well, thank you.
Because I know a little more than what was shared, what you had to go through on that day. And the Lord protected you. He protected you through it, and He's protecting you now.
Yeah. It's hard to see sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, when you're right there in the action, it's really difficult to see. But you're so right as you're able to look back and see, you know, how things have transpired and where we're at now. So
It's wild. And I'm not just saying this. I've had really a lot of really great people sit in those chairs that have done incredible things. This last week, I had a composer who's world renowned. He's played for kings and queens and presidents. I had a country singer who's now just rising to the top. I've had guitar prodigies. I've had some of the greatest theologians, biblical scholars sit in the chair. But today is a day where I'm like, it's not about what you've done, it's who you are. And to me, this is probably one of the most important episodes people can watch. It's not about what you do, it's who you are. And you guys have that heart. And I don't know how to say thank you enough. I've not benefited a thing. My thank you to you is I just hope people who are listening where can they go to give? Like, is there a website or?
They can go to our website. It's just fishfishermansclub.org, or they can go to Facebook and Fish Fishermen's Club. And there's a link to our PayPal account. We also use our local bank, the Cowboy Bank.
Yeah.
So if people are local and they want to just stop by and write a donation to the Fish Fishermen's Club, they're able to do that as well. Yes, sir.
Well, I just encourage people, I don't know, We have 100 listeners. Everybody give $5,000.
That would be great.
That would be great. That'd be
We
awesome.
would accept that.
If you can get $5, that's
Yes.
great.
Yeah. Because it all adds up. I do, and it's something that is really hard. And doing this is really hard. But I have to look at who is this benefiting. And every year on Andrew's birthday, I do on Facebook, um, just just in memory of Andrew. If you can give $5, I
It's
try to
usually
kind
like
of go
however
like
old he is,
he
$7,
just turned
$7.
14.
So
Yeah,
14 or whatever.
give $14, and it is amazing. I mean, this community, like you said, realizing the love and support that you have after a tragedy, it's pretty mind blowing, and they're continually showing up, whether it's monetarily or just a text message saying they're thinking of us. We're very very blessed when it comes to that.
Enid is a special place.
It is.
It's a boring place. But I'll tell you, it's a great place to raise your kids because they're not going to get in that much trouble. But you look at America, and if you made America the human body, Enid is exactly where the heart is.
Yeah.
And I think what flows out of the heart is going to affect the rest of the world. And it's people like you here in Enid that do that. And this community, it's kind of a weird thing. If you guys knew anything about me, you don't know a whole lot about me other than probably what Sean's told you, which is going to all be good because it's Sean. It's like, but I am not a perfect person by all means. I've tried to be. I've multiple times been people wanted to run me out of Enid. Okay. And some of them had good reason, I'm not, but it's hard to leave when you know the heart of this community, and it is special. So I hope they rally around and see what you guys are doing, because things like this can be forgotten over time. But they don't realize the impact it's still making today.
Right.
And so the continual giving is good. And here's what I'm going to ask. I'm not going to ask you to give a certain amount. Just give as the Spirit leads. Absolutely. Whatever the Spirit leads you to give, go to the website, give to them, go to the bank, and just help this, because I'm sure there's someone within 6 degrees of you who is going to benefit from this. And tragedies can happen. It could happen to you next week. And this is here, and it's going to be there to help you, just like it's helped them, how it's helped me. The counsel is very important. Men, hear me. It's not weak to go. That was me. What I'm going to be having, this is really kind of I guess, I don't know what the right word would be. Gutsy is probably a safer word than what I was going to use.
Yeah, they might run you out of Enid. You better be careful.
Yeah. Is I'm going to have my counselor come on the podcast, and have her diagnose me for everybody to see, because here's the deal.
I don't think I want that.
People,
I'm just kidding.
People are scared of their sin.
Right.
The truth is, you should be very bold with your sin, but bolder to come to Christ for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And everyone hides. Everyone hides their brokenness, men especially. I've been doing this for years, like counseling people in my office, and men, they lock up. They don't want to say a thing.
Right.
And I've always been like, just share until you're in the position. And then I find myself locking up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And it can be really hard. So I was going to have her come on and say, this is what was wrong with Ryan, because people need to not be ashamed. They don't need to be guilty. They don't need to feel guilt for their brokenness, for tragedy, for sin, any of it. They need to give it to the Lord and know that we are all in need of Jesus.
Mhm.
For some reason, people believe that if you go to church on Sunday, or if you're a pastor or a leader, if you are Pastor Ryan or small group leader Sean Cummings,
Mhm.
that you got to be a perfect man. And I can tell you, me and him both aren't perfect men. There's not one perfect man. There was, and his name was Jesus. So humble yourself. If you are in a position right now and you think you need help, humble yourself and get the help you need. Um, Hopefully, someone's hearing that today because of you guys and because of what you went through, and someone goes and gets the help they need, because it can truly, genuinely save your life or the loved one in your life. And what was your sister or your sister that said?
It was Will's sister.
My sister.
Do it, Abby.
Abby.
See, Abby did the right thing.
Mhm.
She didn't care about what Will wanted. She knew what he needed. And that's that. I'm going to put that out there as well. If you know someone who needs it, don't be afraid to make them go.
It's true.
Because it was funny. I remember when I first went and saw this lady, and she's like a pro, right? So she's dealt with all of it. But I have a feeling she's going to say something along the lines of, he was the hardest person to crack, to the point where I think she was about to give up on me. Like, she was like, he is just so full of himself. Because I believed I had all the answers, because I did. I had the answers on paper,
Mhm.
but it's a lot different. Like when it's the same thing with the Bible and Jesus. You have the right answer. You know what the right answer is. Who died for your sins? Jesus. You can know the answer, but do you know it?
Right.
And that's, sometimes you need someone to walk you through that. And I knew the answers. I knew what caused my flaws. I knew that's this, and this. What do you do to fix it? Pray. No, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
That's the beginning. There's a lot more to it, and people need to know that. Do not be afraid. They will not put. This is what I was always scared of: is they're going to put me in a box. They're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah. No, we're all crazy.
Yes. Charles Spurgeon. I think it was Charles Spurgeon. There was this time I guess one of his students came in and was like, "Oh my goodness, Pastor Spurgeon, do you see what they're writing about you in the paper?" This is a true story.
Okay.
And he was like, "What?" And they were like, "They're telling people about these sins that you've committed." And he was like, "Well, it's probably true." And they were like, "What?" And he goes, "I'm just glad they don't know all of it." And that's where we all are. And people
Right.
have a hard time with that, because you're growing up taught, if you make a mistake, you're going to go burn in hell forever. God will punish you and smite you. And that is not the God of the Bible. And he's a God of love, and he loves you where you are broken. He loves you when you're living the best life you've had, the worst life you're having. He's there with you through it all. So much so that our Father, this is something that I think, you're going to always understand better than most, like most people. The sacrifice the Father gave when he gave up his only son.
Oh yeah.
You,
We've had our battles.
yeah, but you know his heart.
Exactly.
You know his
No,
feel, like that grief he had when he was on the
Exactly.
cross. You
We-
know
we-
that.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that
Ryan, I haven't shared this with you, but Will's a guitar player too.
really.
Oh,
He's written a song about "Devil, You Can't Hurt Me Anymore."
You want to sing it?
no. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got guitar. It's probably tuned good enough. And I'll have you sign the guitar with all the other musicians.
Oh my goodness, you kind of put me on the spot here, aren't you? Why would you do that to me?
All right. If he messes up, I'll edit the whole thing out.
you can't hurt me. Devil, you can't hurt me. Devil, you can't hurt me anymore. I ain't buying all your lies like I was before. No. Devil, you can't hurt me anymore. I finally outran all this outlaw that's been running through my veins, and dragged all my demons out into the light, sent them on their way. Devil, you're gone for good, and I'm here to stay. It's been such a long time, been such a long time, been such a long time coming. So this is what it's like to come back to life. Oh, it's been a long time coming. I finally outran on this outlaw that's been running through my veins, dragged all my demons out into the light, sent them on their way. Devil, you're gone for good. Devil, you're gone for good, and I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay.
Perfect.
You like it?
That's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
And everybody who knows, I have musicians come on. I have them sign it because they've done great things. You got the Eric's Prodigy there. You got Cam Allen, Oklahoma singer. I want you to sign it.
You want me to sign it?
Yeah.
Huh? All right.
I want you to sign it, and I want people to know why. First off, the song was really good.
Well, a friend of mine and I wrote that. His name's Scott Sean White, and he's actually putting it on his album, one of his albums that's coming out soon. So,
Really, that's awesome. So you got to hear the songwriter do it, his voice.
there you go.
That's what I do.
The story on that is really cool.
Really?
We went, Grant loves to ski.
Yeah.
And we took Grant and Emma, who was 4 at the time, to Red River. The following, like Andrew passed away in October, and we went in January.
Yeah, it was in
It was
January.
very short.
Right
Looking
after
back,
Andrew
we're
died.
like, how did we do that? But
and-
we wanted to do something for Grant, something that he loved. And it was for Emma's first time to ski. She didn't love it.
Here, I can take that out.
No, that's
so,
all right. I feel more comfortable holding the
Oh,
guitar,
oh,
I think.
oh.
No, it's just...
It's like your blanket.
Yeah.
it really is.
So she and Will went to
Well, we were eating dinner that
eating
night.
dinner or something, and the singer-songwriter festival was going on in Red River. Well, Emma is a huge music fan.
She loves music.
Loves it.
Yeah.
And in Red River, you can have your babies in the bar. So there's a girl up playing music, and Scott was sitting close to you, right? And you guys just started talking.
Yeah, we just became friends, and
sharing their story.
And he's got a publishing deal that he writes. I don't know who he writes for, but so that's what he does. He's a songwriter.
But he had a lot of trauma in his life growing up.
Anyway, we wrote that song. He came and visited, and we wrote that song in about 3 afternoons, I guess, or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Music has been music's always been a big part of your life, but
Yeah.
it's definitely been one of his therapies as well.
It's mine as well.
Yeah.
Like most people don't realize that. Like I'm not. I when I was younger, when I was 16, I made my very first album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I did 2 of them. And it's not what you would think. Like you probably think, oh, some country folk. No, it was nothing like it. It was like industrial rock music.
Right.
And I kind of grew out of that, and really what happened was my counselor, she said, you need to start writing letters.
Mm-hmm.
And she would say, write a letter to this person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't like writing the letter, so I'd write a song.
Yeah.
And I just kept writing, I'm writing a song to this person, to these people. And as I was doing it, she said, you need to put these out as music. Well, I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I found programs online that helped me do that. And you can put the notations in, you can sing it and put it in another voice.
Oh, really?
And I was doing that because I was like, oh, maybe someone will buy it. I want this one to sound like Morgan Wallen singing it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And so it's just kind of like a little journal of my life. And it was such a good thing for me. Now, this is what I do want people to hear, because they hear some of these songs and they start saying, these are about me. And I'm like, they're actually not really about you. It's about how I felt at a time.
Sure.
And it was my way of getting it out.
Mm-hmm.
It might not even have been a truth,
Right.
but it helped me. And I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I haven't listened to it
Yeah,
yet either, but I have
haven't.
seen it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It's amazing.
Neon Country, Moonshine Memories is what I called it.
Okay.
And it was crazy because Enid Buzz took it and put the song Enid that I wrote on there, and it just
took off.
Yeah,
Cool.
like
awesome.
2,000 streams in like 2 days.
That's
It's
great.
like, so it's really cool. Music can do that. It's a great therapy tool.
Yeah.
Do you have any more? Is that all you got?
That's all I got right now.
All you got right
Yeah.
now? Well,
Yeah.
If you ever want
We could play some more, but not right now. So I'm not really ready. I was not really wanting to do that right now. Right then.
Sorry.
You did great.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Hey, you just got to do what the wife says, though.
That's right.
I've learned this as a pastor. If you want a family to come to your church, don't worry about the husband. Win the wife.
There you go.
You win the wife, you get the family.
That's right.
And if you're a smart man, you just kind of,
Yeah.
just do
Wife, happy life.
Yeah, you go with it. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. Do you guys have any final words?
We just thank you for having us.
Yes.
Really do. Want to get a word out.
This has been
Let people know what we are doing.
That's been on our hearts for a
It has
long
been.
time. Is that we want to spread what Fish Fisherman's Club is about. We want to let people know, but it's hard.
It's been very
been
difficult. We finally
difficult.
come to a point in our lives that we
Yes.
can, without.
And we've gotten to that point. I did just talk therapy for a long time with Jennifer Sullivan, and I was not myself. And
Well, EMDR helps. I mean,
he
it
finally
changes.
said,
It changes.
"You need to do this, Christina." And I
Helps
fought.
us,
I
yeah.
fought for a while, even though I knew what counseling could do. I didn't want to do EMDR because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But I did it, and I just finished those sessions in December, and it was kind of that turning point of, we can do these things.
Mhm.
I can control my emotions enough to get on the air and talk about losing our son and not have a complete breakdown.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't ever think I would be at that point. So there is hope. There is hope. If you've recently experienced a loss of some kind and you feel like you're in this deep, dark hole, you will get out of it.
You guys mind if I pray before we?
Please do.
Wow.
Father, just thank you so much for your beautiful guiding hand. First, thank you for the life of Andrew. Thank you for what you've done with his life when he was living, but even after he's went to go be with you. The amount of lives that have been touched. I know that more people have come to know you through Andrew. Lord, thank you for giving a Christ-like heart to both Christina and Will so people can see you through them. Lord, we know it's you, but you've utilized this family as a tool for your light. And I thank you that people get to see your glory through them. And Lord, I ask that this continues, that this doesn't die out, that people rally around this family, rally around what they're doing, and help people get the help they need that essentially points them right back to you. I ask all of this in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Whether you're a pro or just getting started, Pheasant Run Golf and Grill offers a first-class experience where everyone is treated like a member. Swing by today, where public play, food, and drinks meets private luxury. Pheasant Run Golf, Enid's best-kept secret in golfing. No membership needed. It's open to you. It's open to everyone.